And today we have a very special guest with us. We have an activist from San Diego, California. And I want to just basically let him introduce himself because there's a lot of information this man either has and just a lot of things that this man has gone through. He's not only just known as a hero, but also as an activist. So we just want to take the time. We really appreciate the fact that he reached out for us. So it's an honor and privilege to have Mr. Rudy Reyes here. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself, Rudy?
Oh, wow. Just jumping into it like that. Okay.
Yes. Yes, we're going to just jump into it like that.
I'm the worst injured, the hero of the 2003 San Diego fires. And the reason why I was recognized as hero is just because I was the only man on that night that went in to get people out. Most of our fire team was out of San Diego. So I'm nationally recognized in the Smithsonian as being a national hero. Because of that, it made me get, well, because of the hospital ODing me on various drugs, they put me into medical marijuana to save my life.
Because of my injuries, I was recommended in hospital by University of California, San Diego, medical marijuana. The main reason is they had me on so many narcos, they were ODing me in hospital. Literally, I was turning green and dying.
That turned into me starting to take care of my own medicine and do my own thing, which turned into a big raid / robbery by the feds because all charges were eventually dropped.
Well, that raid, I had 73 plants, my own personal stuff on me, and they came and stomped and took everything they could, and then gave me a card, and I was never arrested, and I was just left there. I'm going, wait, what was this? So I needed medication, and I go driving up to LA, and while I'm driving up to LA, some reason they stop me at the border check, because it's not, between LA and San Diego, there's a border check, right? And that's right.
That's crazy.
And under the same thing, secondary check, oh, we found your medicine. Now they want to arrest me and bring in the FBI to see if I'm this whatever. And I got put in jail that night. They put me immediately into the medical ward. The district attorney heard that I was in there, wanted me out immediately. He immediately asked me to come in the next Thursday to sit and speak with him. So he's sitting there in his office with both files open, one of my raid, the other one of me being arrested. And he goes, look, honestly, if I tried to try you on this, you'd make my court look like a circus. There's no way I would ever get, especially in San Diego, the hero worst injured of the Cedar fires, to be convicted for medical marijuana. So as far as I'm concerned, so long as you stay within our state rights, you have no problem with me. I'm not going to come after you. That's when I realized we have certain rights that they're not taking away from us, and they can't take away, okay? So I just started to speak out and become more politically active.
There were two major issues. One was, of course, my fires. They weren't putting the monies where the monies need to be, and the people weren't being kept safe. The other issue was marijuana and or medical marijuana. The county of San Diego specifically held a stance for at least 10 to 15 years straight of we're just not going to allow it. Although it was a People's Passed initiative in 1996, to the point to where I was dealing with them at the beginning in 2003, 2004, they were just holding a prejudice against. And no reason other than the fact of a prejudice. So if they weren't going to do their job in regards to what the people wanted and or needed, someone like me had to step up and do it.
And what did you do at that point?
I ran for their job.
2008, randomly with 6 months, not knowing what I was doing, I literally went into the county board of supervisors and threw head on the thing and said, you know what, I'm running for your job. And they're like, good luck, kid. You'll roughly pull about 1,000 votes. Your friends and family, it's a lot of people. It just spurred me on. Next thing you know, because I'm hero of the fires, running for this thing, I end up all over TV. That year I pulled 22,000 votes in the East County, okay? And that was huge because it really threatened the status quo, the powers that be. But you got to realize that in the fact that I was going around doing these political circles, I got to meet congressmen. I got to meet senators and influence them and let them meet a real burn survivor who needed this, that they couldn't just say, you don't need this, and from visual discrimination, I can tell you're healthy, right? Because that's what they do. We have a reverse form of discrimination when it comes to this issue, because they like to say, oh, you look just fine. Well, excuse me, you can't tell that, like Montel, he's got real issues on the interior. Okay, you can't tell that. You're not a doctor. You're just some politician trying to claim for the claim. So that's when I started to go around and tell people, look, we need to run. You, me, every one of us regular citizens need to run. Because we've got a problem with America is the same politicians, the same family, the same money influencing our politics. And they don't care about the common people, what we passed as our own votes. So since then, it's became an issue for me to go around and speak and convince various groups. Run. Influence these politicians. Talk to your congressman. Because it's the only way we can do it to end our own discriminations from the inside. The politicians are the root of our problem. If we become that seat, take that seat, influence that seat, they have no reason not to do anything in our favor.
I didn't win my county supervisor's seat. I've been trying now for 2 terms. But I've influenced a congressman who ran for mayor of San Diego.
And how did you do that?
Well, you get to know him and meet him. And next thing you know, you become friends. And next thing you know, they realize that you aren't the evil monster thing they've been throwing you out there as in the media.
Proof in the pudding? 1 week ago, we had a new mayor installed in San Diego. Congressman Bob Filner, right? Congressman Bob Filner, basically a friend of mine, I met him a few times. He finalized it by basically dropping all charges against everything medical marijuana within the city of San Diego. Proof is in the pudding. If we influence those politicians, we end our own discrimination.
It's night and day. Because right now I can go back home and I'm not going to be prosecuted. Where when I started this, I was the target. To a DEA agent, the minute they find us with anything that we have on us is confiscated goods. So we're easy money to them, right? So you come into one of these medical marijuana shops, raid, and take everything they have. That's easy money.
Of course.
Right?
Of course.
Well, next thing you know, it became, we're getting tired of avoiding you, Mr. Reyes. Literally calls to my lawyer, right? Because they couldn't raid while I was on premise. I was the problem with, because they weren't going to charge me anyways, right? But what they basically did was they would raid when I wasn't there, right? I've helped open now probably about 4 medical marijuana dispensaries, right? And each one different time periods. We were rated on 3303, 6606, and 9909. For some reason they do that, right? But the idea there is each time they come to realize that, yeah, we're going to get them for this, but we're not going to get any charges pressed, nothing's going to happen. It's just a legitimate robbery, right? No other way for me to phrase it than a legitimate robbery. Okay?
So kind of like a little crooked Caesar, huh? For
It is. It is. As a matter of fact, on the last one, they ended up leaving federal rounds, and I had to return it to them, but I brought in the media to show them what was happening.
And what ended up happening as a result of that? With that
They got really reprimanded by the federal courts for leaving federal arms. Do you follow what I'm trying to say?
Did they explain themselves? Or they...
Of course not. It just was a quick, you shouldn't have done that, right? Slap on the wrist and yeah. But you have to realize at the same time, we're making big changes. When you stop and realize that 16 to 18, maybe even up to 20 states right now have recognized some type of legalization, right? And then you get the untold story from congressmen that as soon as half of the United States recognizes any one law, the federal government has to deal with that law. We're this close to finishing this whole battle, you guys. Now go the other 2 fighters. I realized as soon as this happened, our fight was over. We've already won this, just we don't realize it. Okay, now I'm explaining why I say that. District of Columbia, our capital, now allows for medical marijuana. Congressmen, senators, our president can legally smoke in those states if they have doctor's recommendation. Our fight, our argument is kneeled now and over. We won. It's just a matter of the rest of the United States finally understanding that. In regards to Texas, you guys have one opportunity that just happened, and I'm going to bring that up on purpose. Congressman Dilton from out of, I don't remember where he's out of right now.
Houston.
Dutton, thank you, out of Houston.
He's a Democrat.
He basically brought up the idea that no longer going to jail for you guys, and he would like to see it be a misdemeanor and a $500 fine. And thank God, because here I hear that's a big change.
It is,
right?
a big change. So, but do you think that, I mean, that's obviously a step.
That's a step. The next part is we as patients need to get involved. We need to run politically to end these discriminations, right? Start pushing those people's momentums and also bring up the medical clause. Because in bringing up the medical ideology, you not only bring the blue hairs, the elder folks that want to be helped for medical reasons, right? But you also bring in medical doctors who know the reason. You bring in all the other group, and you automatically in the polls up yourself by about 30 to 40 points. That's huge. And on top of that, if you get a medical clause put in, they try to attack and go legal on any other angle. you have grandfathership. And those people are in a selective group. And that's a huge bonus too. So therefore the two arguments go is, run. We need to run to end this. Help those congressmen and senators that are trying to help you right now. Let them know we support them. And number three, go on with that next fact of, if we ourselves get involved, influence those politicians, we end this whole thing. That's the whole point. That's what we're trying to do. Okay? Be active. Be that person. Because you can't sit there and wait for somebody else to do it. That's something I learned myself. The ball has to start somewhere, and it starts with ourselves.